Hey y'all, happy Friday. Y'all come on, tune in. Y'all know the drill. Happy Friday. Somebody tune in. Let me know that you can see me or you can hear me. Once I got a viewer, I'm going to make sure that we know what's going on. Somebody hop on. Somebody get on here. Happy Friday. How are y'all? How are y'all weeks? How was July? Yeah, what's going on with y'all? I'm gonna wait until we got somebody on here. As soon as we got on here, I'm going to get started. I can't see that anybody's on here yet, so I'm messing with my other devices, waiting for y'all to get situated. As soon as y'all hop on here, we going for it. Somebody hop on here. I see somebody on here, but who is it? Can you hear me and can you see me? Whoever you are. Once I know somebody can hear me and somebody can see me, we are going to get started. Y'all know my drill. Somebody hop in the comments, tell me if you can see me and you can hear me. Because if we can hear and we can see, we good. I'm pretty sure y'all can see me. I feel like at this point that's not even a real thing. But can you hear me? And can you hear me well? Oh, maybe not. They didn't want to be my friend today. Well, happy almost August. For those of you that are tuning in, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you are watching, hop in the comments. Let me know you can see me and you can hear me. And we're going to do this. In the meantime, happy almost August. Tomorrow starts a new month. What are y'all up to? How are you? Hey, Nella, can you hear me? And I'm sure you can see me, but let's check on that as well. And we're going to get started. Yay! Okay, so we're going to get started. Do me a favor, share this video with your friends. So, if this is your first time watching, welcome to Singles Exchange. My name is Joy J. And here on Singles Exchange, we talk about conversations, connections, community, and all things related to dating and relationships. So, we just gonna have some fun tonight. It's been a whole month since I hopped on here and talked to y'all. And you guys gave me some very interesting topics. So as I said, like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to send this video to somebody. This is your first top watching. Hey, top fan, Lachey. Talking about this one. This is not your first time, but as a top fan, yes. So we're going to talk about some good stuff tonight. I am very excited. The first topic I think I'm going to save for last because it's a little scandalous. So we'll save that one for last. But we're going to hop right in. So on Instagram, if you want to follow Singles Exchange, you can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on Pocket Casts, on Spotify, on Anchor, whatever your preference and your pleasure is, we are there. So be sure to follow us. But on Instagram, hey Jessica, on Instagram, Brittany asked the question, hi Kaylin. Brittany asked the question, how long is too long to wait for a conversation to pick up speed? So I'm guessing what she meant by that because she's not on here yet. But my assumption is that she meant how long do you wait if the conversation is boring? So if you exchange numbers or if you're talking to somebody on a dating platform or something to that extent, how long do you wait before you say, you know what, I'm done? For me, I am not a very patient person. If you cannot grasp me in the first few conversations, you're probably not going to get far. I would say if the conversation doesn't heat up after like 3 days, meaning it's a conversation that holds your attention, within the first 3 days, if you feel like you can put your phone down and forget that you messaging this person, you're probably not a good person to talk to for them. Hey, Tran. Hey, Mario. So, as always, Kaylin said a few days. I agree. No more than a few days. And that's me being very generous. My friends know that I am the generous friend. So I tend to like try to give people more chances probably than what they deserve. But I'll give you a few days because you might be nervous the first time we talk, or you may be distracted. Like anything can happen. So I'll give you a few days. But if we like a weekend and I'm still bored with the conversation, I don't like it. I'm good. And Lachey said I need to stop being generous. I am aware. I'm trying to be right, okay? Sometimes you got to be nice. People be nervous. This is the thing. I have one set of friends that say I'm too nice and I'm too generous and I don't give people, and I give people too many chances. And then I have another set of friends that say I don't give people enough chances and I kind of count people out too quick. So it's kind of like, well, which one is it? It's complicated. Nella says, it depends. I give it a couple days, I guess. And if I feel like I got to initiate topics to keep the conversation going, I fall back. I agree. I'm a talker, though. If I'm comfortable with you, I'm a talker. So I know that I can out-talk you if I'm really comfortable with you. And I try not to do that. I try to give you some space to be a part of the conversation, too. But if I don't feel like you can hold your end of the conversation up, I'm going to get bored. I don't like just feeling like I'm talking to myself or feeling like I'm getting like one-word answers. Lachey says, it depends on the day. It can go either way for you. That's what I'm saying. There are moments when I can really, really talk. And then there are times where I kind of just want to be quiet. So I'm complicated in that way, but I like that about myself. So, yeah. Anybody else? How long is too long to wait for a conversation? Brittany, like I said, I think it's just a few days. If you haven't found some common ground within a few days, I don't know if you will. To me, it's kind of like the law of attraction, If we don't have nothing in common, then what are we going to talk about? Like, we have different interests, different hobbies, different goals. We don't have anything in common. We don't have anything to talk about. And that's another question, though. Is it that we don't have anything to talk about, or is it that you're not a talker? Nella says that, too. One word answers, I'm like, bye. Exactly. Lachey says, first convo, honestly, I'm a talker. I agree. If I'm very interested, I am a talker. And you should take that as a compliment. If I'm talking a lot, then you should take it as a compliment because I can be very quiet if necessary. Let's see. That was good. That was a nice quick one. Oh, she had a part 2 of that question, or maybe it was a different question, but the same line. It says, should a woman be the initiator? And I think we kind of talked about this before. If you are interested in someone, I don't see why not initiate a conversation. I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman saying, hey, how you doing? Or, hey, what you up to? Or, something to that extent. I don't see anything wrong with the woman initiating conversation because it's conversation. Like I said, most women are talkers. So, especially when it comes to a male or someone that they're attracted to, because not all women like men, but most women are talkers by nature. So, if we are interested in you, yeah, we gonna want to talk. So it's okay to start the conversation. Now, I don't think you should be the initiator every time. I think that if you are always the initiator, then they're not that interested in you. Because at some point you should cross their mind enough for them to reach out, So, Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Jessica says, if you're not a talker, then why you wasting free text messages? Literally, don't be texting me about nothing or taking up this free air in silence. I've done it before, so yes. Yeah. So I don't see anything wrong with initiating. Hey, Brittany, this is one of your questions. We're talking about, should a woman initiate the conversation, and how long do we wait until the conversation picks up speed? I'm going to read one of these comments, and then I'm going to give you the short version of what I said. Nella said, I don't see anything wrong with it, but like you said, if I feel like we only talk when I initiate, then it's a no for me. Yeah, Brittany was a little late to the party, but she made it. Brittany is going to be featured on one of the podcast episodes soon, and I'm not going to give you guys any details, but I am excited. I may give y'all a little bit of detail at the end. We'll see how I feel at the end. But, yeah, so Brittany, the short version of my answer was, I think that if after a few days the conversation hasn't picked up, you should leave it alone. But I don't see anything wrong with a woman initiating conversation. You know, we don't live in that old school society that says that men have to make the first move and men have to do this and men have to do that. I definitely think that there are some people who prefer more traditional roles. I am a very intricate mix. There are some things that I prefer traditional, and there are some things that I'm like, that's old, girl, bye. We gonna do this or no? So, yeah. I think that there's a good mixture of that. So, you can initiate. It's just a conversation. What can it hurt? Okay. No, you were not wrong for blocking him, Brittany. If the conversation is boring, don't waste your time. You got to have something in common. I guess for me, my long-term goal is, if I'm married to you or if I'm dating you long-term, I don't want to be bored. And if we can't have pleasant conversation, like even at the beginning stages, we're probably not going to mesh well when it comes to harder conversations or more intricate, intimate conversations. So, no, you weren't wrong. The next question that Brittany put on Instagram was, what are some great questions singles ask when getting to know someone new? So I have like tons of lists in my phone that are like not the norm questions. I think that you should ask questions like, if you could help someone, if money, time, or resources weren't an issue, what would you do to help someone? Or if money, time, and resources weren't an issue, what would you do for yourself? Questions like, tell me about the hardest decision you ever had to make. Or who's your favorite superhero and why? Those are things that, hey, San, those are things that are not the typical first date questions, but I think they would strike a good conversation. I have a list of questions. I actually got them for work. If you don't know, I am an elementary school secretary. And on one of the trainings that we had this week, a virtual training, of course, this lady was saying that you should post like a question of the week. So whoever comes into the office has to answer that question. And it's just kind of like a conversation starter so you can get to know the parents and the staff and the kids. And there were some really good questions. So I will definitely be posting some of them in the next few weeks as singles exchange questions, because like I said, they're good conversation starters and they're not the norm. What's your favorite color? Where you work? You know, those are things that you'll find out eventually when you're dating somebody anyway. So, like Jessica said, don't waste your good air on stuff that's irrelevant. Have some good conversation, some interesting conversation, things that make you think. Lachey said, short-term goals, some goals they've achieved, bucket list, definitely bucket list items. Tell me what it is that you want to do in the future, because that's what I need to know. I'm trying to think of what was another good question that I read on there. There were so many. I'm gonna post some of them, so don't y'all worry. But yeah, questions like tell me all of the pets that you've ever had in your life. Tell me who was your most influential teacher or affluential teacher, something like that. Those are things. Hey, Michelle, those are things that will strike conversation, and hey, Shars, and it won't be the normal conversation. Or something crazy. Tell me about your kindergarten teacher. Most people don't even remember their kindergarten teacher, but I had one of the best kindergarten teachers on earth. So I remember everything about her. And she was very affluential to where I am now. So those are the type of questions that you should ask. Anybody else have some out of the ordinary first date questions or out of the ordinary get to know you questions? While you're typing, I'm going to read these comments. Nella says, I've honestly gotten a lot of questions lately from things we discuss on Singles Exchange. You're welcome. But I don't necessarily have a list, just things that won't give me a one word answer. So yeah. Those are the things that I think you should discuss. Like I said, I'll post some of them. I'll kind of throw them out and I'll like mention these are from that list that I got for work because they are really good questions and they're questions that I think will carry us through the whole school year. So, quick little sidebar. I think the craziest question I've ever been asked on a first date, I'm trying to think. I feel like first dates are awkward, so I haven't gotten a lot of crazy questions. I get a lot of boring questions, and I like to see where your mind is. Sherry says, my kindergarten teacher was Mrs. Davis. She was old and mean and got in trouble for whooping a student on the parking lot. Whoa. That was not how my kindergarten teacher was. Honestly, I think my kindergarten teacher was like 23 or 24, like fresh out of college. She was young and real spunky. She had these long, gorgeous, traditional locks. She was very earthy. Her name was Nia Gamble. If any of my Saint Sabina people, Mario, you should remember Miss Gamble. Well, maybe not. Mario wasn't in my grade, so I don't know if she was still there when he got there. Mario, if you're still on here, do you remember Miss Gamble? Yes or no? Brittany, would I consider dating someone younger than me? It depends on how young. As of now, I am just about a month shy of being 31 years old. I would not date anybody under the age of 25, 26-ish. The reason for that is my very first job in the school system, I worked for a program called Upper Bound. And my students in that first group are very close to that age. So anybody that's close to their age, it just makes me feel a little awkward. Like you the same age as my kids. And even though they're not that much younger than me, they're my babies. They're going to always be my babies. They're going to hop on here. Most of them will hop on at some point. So, yeah. And I be proud of them like a mama when I see them out there doing stuff. So, once you get to teeter-tottering close to their age, I'm like, I'm okay. So, I would consider dating younger, but not too much younger. I know some people that date, 12, 15 years younger than them. And if it works for you, that's your business. But it don't work for me. Sorry. Listen, Lachey, 30 with the year of experience. That's real good. Yes, Brittany, you're an Upper Bound kid. That's awesome. Upper Bound is the bomb. So yeah, I would not go too much younger. But typically I am attracted to older guys anyway. That's just my cup of tea. Yeah, my parents are 5 years apart. My dad is 5 years older than my mom. And so I'm pretty sure that having that outlook on things growing up affected that. Because I'm like, I want a young dude. He need to be a little older. At least bare minimum be my same age. Nella says, more first date questions are like short-term, long-term goals. Why they chose the career they're in. If money wasn't a concern, what would be their dream job? That's a good one, Nella. When people ask me what my dream job is, it changes. But it's always something working with young people and something working with education because those are my two passions. So, yeah, that's a good question. Kayla, 15 years younger is definitely jail time. But I know some folks. Brittany says, if younger, 3 years is my max, and that's pushing it. Yeah, 27, 28, you still real grown. But like I said, I try to give people chances. I know some really mature 25-year-olds and some really immature 35-year-olds. So, how we trying to do this? It's all about your maturity and what you have to offer, what you bring to the table. And I'll leave it at that. I could go on, but Nella says, if I got to deal with younger, definitely no younger than like 2, and that's pushing it for me. I can see that. But like I said, I know some really mature 25-year-olds and I know some people that's literal granddaddies that's still out here immature. So, age is not as huge of a factor for me as it once was. There was a time in my life where I absolutely would not date any younger than me, but I'm a little more open now. When you 30 and you single, that changes your outlook on things. Sherris is definitely 2 years younger than his wife. Trinity is definitely older than her husband. Jessica is definitely older than her husband. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people that's out here flourishing and their wife is older. And I'm okay with that. Listen, my friends who marry people, my girlfriends who marry people younger than them, their marriages are out here flourishing. So, I'm not going to knock it. And that's all I have to say. Anybody else before we move on? Because Brittany asked a really good question. I definitely want you guys to talk to me on this one. So, yay or nay for dating younger? Like I said, I'm almost 31. So, I would go a little younger, but not too young. So, yeah. Okay, well, we're going to move on. Y'all comment if we need to roll back, we will. Brittany asked, how have you adjusted your 2020 goals and expectations during the pandemic? Brittany, that's a mouthful, okay? Actually, next week's podcast, I've been wrestling between 2 podcast episodes, but I think that this is the route that I'm going, but I will definitely give you guys some insight on it right now. 2020, I came in with these huge expectations because everybody was like, it's 2020, it's the year of clear vision, blah, blah, blah. And y'all know I'm a church kid too, so I went to church on New Year's Eve. The word was real good. We were shouting and crying. So I was ready. And the pandemic, hey, Fallon, the pandemic just like slapped me, okay? Like it took me out real quick. Listen, Sherris, I'm just trying to make it to 2021 at this point. Like the craziness that has happened this year has been nonstop and just a lot. So, honestly though, looking at my vision board, the things that I put up, the goals that I set for myself, I've still reached a lot of those goals. I think that the goals that I set were like vague enough to where they could be rerouted. Because I still have had an amazing year. I'm not going to list all of my accomplishments because I want y'all to come back and listen to the podcast episode next week. But even in the midst of a global pandemic, losing one of my friends suddenly in April, just a lot of stuff. I've dealt with some other friendships. Like one of my friends, the friend that I'm talking about now, he passed away. But I had another friend who was just like, I don't want to be your friend no more. And it was a struggle. I'm going to talk about that on the pandemic too. On the podcast episode too. Too many P words. But even with all of the rough parts of 2020, God has blessed me tremendously. Now, if you don't believe in God, please don't be offended. This is my beliefs, and I believe in God. And God has blessed me tremendously. So, I wouldn't say that I had to readjust. I just had to look at the reality of things. Like, I asked God to open up doors for singles exchange. But the way that I thought it was going to be was more public speaking events and more merchandise and things like that. I didn't know that it would be a podcast and people, offering to be sponsors and things like that and getting a staff for singles exchange. That's not the way that I thought 2020 was going to go. But it's still a great thing. And yes, if you don't know, we do have a staff for Singles Exchange. I'm not going to tell you exactly who they are because I want to do something really big to introduce them. Like I want to do a photo shoot. Some of this stuff I haven't even told them, so they're going to hear it in the meeting tomorrow. But I want to introduce them in a really big way because they are super important to the future of Singles Exchange. So let me read some of these comments because it look like y'all clowning. Nella says, at this rate, I'm just ready for 2021. Mood. Lachey says, 2020 just bit off my ear like Tyson. Bye, Lachey. Brittany says, well, I will say that this really has been a year of perfect vision. Not in the way we thought, but God has been using this pandemic to set some order. I have lacked nothing. And I agree, okay? Because we talked about having, and I hope I don't get too deep for y'all, but we talked about having this perfect vision. We talked about how we're going to see things so clearly. But honestly, the way that our lives were prior to COVID-19, we were so busy. We were so jam-packed. And I know I'm one of those people. I was always on the go. I was working 7:30 to 3 o'clock every day. I would get off the clock, run a bunch of errands. I'd be doing stuff for Singles Exchange, trying to clean up my house, hanging out with friends. And y'all know I got a million friends, so I got to call this person and call that person. And I got to write for this. And I got to have time for myself. And I got to go to Chicago and see my family. And I got teen church. And then the kids want to come over for the weekend. And, it was just this never-ending cycle of stuff. And I feel like God literally snatched everything away and was like, you want this vision? You're going to sit down and you're going to get it because you're not going to have anything else to do but get it. And I definitely feel like, although I struggle with quarantine and things like that, and I'll talk about that more in the podcast as well, I definitely had some moments where I struggled during quarantine. I also feel like I didn't have a choice but to focus. Because what else do I have to do? I'm not at work. I can't do teen church. My teenagers can't come over. I can't go to Chicago and see my family. I can't hang out with my friends. Like, I literally had nothing to do but sit in God's face and let him show me what he wants to do. Because, we make up this list. We get this list like, okay, God, this is what I want. I want you to do X, Y, Z, and A, B, C. And I want you to do it on these dates at this time. And God was like, nah, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And I'm going to show you my will. And that's going to be it. Brittany says, I'm sorry, I got excited. I know I get excited talking about God. We done got sat in the corner. I'm like, but I didn't even do nothing. Right. I didn't want to be on punishment with these people, but I was probably too busy too. I need to sit down. Bina says, when we said we wanted a break in time to rest, we didn't mean it like this, God. But that's the thing, Bina. Would we really have taken that rest if life continued on the way that it was going? We may take out a couple days to travel. But even me, y'all know last year I kept talking about how I went to Cancun for my 30th birthday and I kicked it with my friends. And I did. I had a ball in Cancun. But do y'all know I was still sneaking on my phone doing work, scheduling kids? Like, I'm literally in Mexico and getting emails like, this kid is not registered in your school. And then I'm getting an email from the teacher like, hey, I know you're out, but this kid is not showing up in Skyward. Like, I literally was on vacation, working. That's the craziest thing. You're on vacation. You took time off. So, I know for me, I would not have taken the rest that I needed to if I wasn't forced to. So while, like I said, I'm going to talk about the struggles that I had, but I appreciate quarantine. I appreciate all that was birthed out of it. Nella says, that's the one thing I can say about 2020. Despite everything, I have lacked nothing. I'm still employed. I've still been able to knock down these goals I set at the beginning physically and financially. Most importantly, I still have my health, and so does my family, and that's really all that matters. And that's what I'm saying. Quarantine was rough. This COVID-19, and it's still here. Like, it's not that the pandemic is over yet, but and I know some people that have been affected drastically by COVID-19. If you've been affected, I am so sorry. I would not wish this on my worst enemy, and I am praying for you. But I can say that my family is blessed. Even the people in my family that did contract COVID-19, I have not lost anybody close to me because of COVID-19. And that's not everybody's testimony, but that is a blessing. And then financially, Nella, don't get me started on financially. Do y'all know how much money I saved by not driving to work, not driving to the church 5 times a week, not buying fast food every day? Listen, this was the time to get ourselves in order. So I feel sorry for the people that didn't find some type of discipline during COVID. Because if you ain't find it now, I don't know if you're going to find it. Brittany says, and that's a part of the reason I don't want to go into the school system if I'm on vacation. Sorry, y'all. I had a call. Can y'all still hear me? And can y'all still see me? Somebody comment real quick. Let me know you can still hear me, still see me. Because somebody definitely called me. Okay. So I'm going to read Bina's comment. She said, I was never a super busy person as is. Outside of working home, not too much has changed. But I can say since all my other plans didn't go as planned, it's allowing time and space for my bigger goals to fall into place. Even Bina, with your new business venture, you had time to start that. I'm not going to tell y'all about her new business venture because I want her to announce her own stuff. But people been in quarantine. Oh, one of my friends, Tia, this lip gloss came from quarantine. Her being in quarantine, she started her own cosmetic line. That's the type of stuff that should have been birthed out of quarantine. So if you got nothing out of quarantine, I'm sorry. I feel real bad for you. Even if nothing else than a closer relationship with your friends and family. Even Sherris. Me and Sherris is my brother. I have been friends with Sherris. I don't even know how many years. We old. But when I tell y'all, I talked to Sherris more during quarantine than I talked to Sherris in the last year. Just because we busy. We have lives. We don't do the same thing. But that is the difference. We done went on a whole tangent. This kind of what the question was about and kind of not. Lachey says, I feel there are a lot of good things that did come out of it. Even with the quarantine, some of my friends have found jobs. Some of my friends' businesses have been able to take because of the time they were given during this time. And although this was rough in some moments, good things have come out of it. That's what I'm saying. It was rough, but some good stuff came out of it. And I think it was Nella that said this. I'm still employed. Like I said, I'm a middle school secretary. Y'all know, I was checking my email and going back to bed. It was nothing for me to do because I'm not at work. But I never lost my benefits. I still have my health insurance and my vision insurance, my dental insurance. I still got a paycheck every single month. That's not everybody's story. Donisha says she got to work from home. She was sick of her job. I'm sorry, sister. Yes, Sherris, we've been friends for 42 years. We grandparents. And thank you, Bina. My lip gloss is popping. Check out Sis Beauty Cosmetics. Shameless plug. This one is called Nova. Lachey said, I don't think most people would have chosen this route and unfortunately could have forfeited their successes too. Bina says, yes, it's a blessing to still be employed. So I agree. I definitely feel like although quarantine was not what I envisioned, I did not plan it to go this way. We initially, when the school shut down, we were supposed to be shut down for 2 weeks. We were literally supposed to go back to work March 30th or something. So here we are, July, and I just went back to work last week. And even now, I'm back at work, but the kids are not. And the kids won't be back a minimum October. And that's a strong maybe. But the fact is, God is still providing. And I'm grateful. Brittany says, I've been on vision for sure most of quarantine. I want to say, stay on telework for real. I agree. Oh, sister, don't go back kicking and screaming. Don't be sad. I went back this week and it was not bad. I will talk about that on the podcast as well. Y'all check out the podcast. I be trying to give y'all my pure heart and soul and just tell y'all the truth. And they talking about another stimulus. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. Joy Johnson needs a new MacBook. I was gonna say a Chromebook. I don't like Chromebooks. I need a new laptop. If they send me another stimulus check, I'm going to Best Buy the next day because I need a laptop real bad. So, anyway, we went on a little bit of a tangent, but Brittany, yes, that is how I adjusted my goals and expectations during pandemics. So, yeah. Brittany, you got some good questions. Brittany always have good questions. Shout out to Brittany. She the bomb. Brittany says, have your lifetime goals changed since entering your 30s? So I will say that before I got to be 30, I was very much on this kick that says, oh my God, I'm about to be 30. I don't have a husband. I don't have kids. I haven't bought a house. Like, I was freaking out. And I was trying to not let that, like, really make me panic because I think everybody goes through that. But it was just like this constant in the back of my mind. Like, I know I try to be real cool, calm, and collected. But in the back of my mind, there was always this record going like, you only 8 months from 30. You only 6 months from 30. You only 4 months from 30. You know, and literally I was like, Joy, you right where you supposed to be. Like, you talking about what you don't have. And you got a nice place. You literally take care of yourself. You pay your own bills. I had just bought a new car. I was gainfully employed. I had a degree. And I had several jobs last year. On top of my full-time job, I was working extra jobs just because I wanted to. I have so many family and friends that love me. Tons of nieces and nephews. My teenagers that are basically my other kids. Like, I was looking at all of the things that I don't have and panicking. And I'm like, Joy, clearly you're right where you're supposed to be. If you say you trust God, then you're going to trust him. And that's just that. And if that's the case, then you're right where you're supposed to be, baby. Relax. And I really had to say, even like small things about my health and my weight, you know, as you get older, let me tell y'all something. If you're not 30 yet, get healthy now. Don't wait till you close to 30. Because that weight, them little pounds, they don't fall off like they did when we had those pop, lock, and dropping knees. We don't have them knees no more. Yeah, they be making them memes about that check knees like, come on, that's a real thing, okay? If you've been around me we've been in a pandemic, so I haven't been around as many of my friends. But if you've been around me in the last 4 months, you know that when I stand up, I can't just stand up and walk away. I got to stand up and wait a second because my knees got to adjust. Like, this is a real thing. Danisha, you can't just give away your husband, your kids, or your house. But also, your husband is my brother, and I think that's a little weird. So you're going to have to keep them. But I will come visit you because I love you. Shay says she looking into adoption and a sugar daddy. Listen, get down how you live, baby. Whatever you got to do to be happy. Bina said they not falling. That's what I'm saying. The pounds ain't falling off at 28. Imagine what they like at 30, okay? Lachey says, these pounds stick and my knees are stuck like Chuck. I'm trying to tell you, you got to get up slow. You fool around and hurt yourself. Nella says, woo child, let them know. I'm 28 and this weight loss journey been the struggle bus. And listen, my knees need some blessed oil too, girl. I don't have to touch him or nothing. Well, I already got him as a brother. You can't just send him away, Danisha. I don't know what to tell you. He can come visit him and my baby. But, yeah, you got to rock to get up. That's a real thing. So, going into my 30s, you know, most people, it'll send them into almost like a quarter life crisis. But it actually, calm me down a little. Because when I hit 30, I woke up expecting I don't know what I wanted to feel like. But I woke up on my 30th birthday. I wanted to see the sunrise. And we had just gotten back to the resort at 4:30 a.m. anyway. So I purposely stayed up until the sun rose. And so I sat on the balcony and I watched the sunrise, and I was like, God, I just watched the sunrise in another country on my 30th birthday. You know, I was very grateful. I had my moment with God. I waited till 7:50 because my mom would not say happy birthday to me before 7:50 a.m. And I don't know. I thought I expected to feel something, but it made me excited. Like, I just went through 30 whole years of life, and I still haven't seen my best days. And so that made me happy. So I enjoyed my 30th birthday. If you are turning 30 soon, don't fight it. Embrace it. Because it's only two options. You either get old or you die young. And I'm trying to get old out here. I'm trying to get old with somebody's son. But let me just start getting old first, and then somebody's son will come along later. Brittany, you are cutting up. Talking about you left your good knees at SIUE on the dance floor. You talking about log out for me. Brittany says, I turned 30 in the year of a global pandemic. I'm like, God, why this stuff always happens to me? It's rough. I feel bad for y'all. I literally thought about the 90s babies that are turning 30 this year and have to celebrate at home. But find a way to make it fun for you. I definitely take old. I'll take it, Shares. Find a way to make it fun for you, Brittany, even if you do a social distance photo shoot, or, you know, you do a different wine tasting every day, or like there's so many things that you can do. Make it fun, because regardless of us being in a worldwide pandemic, we're here. Like, we didn't die in the pandemic, we still here. So that's something to celebrate. Listen, Shares, I'll take all them years. Give me all the years that you want me to have, Lord. Okay, so that was a good question. Y'all talking real good tonight. We be on here acting up, but listen, somebody daddy, somebody son, nephew, uncle, cousin, send him my way, okay? Okay, so Lachey asked a question about gender roles. This is kind of switching gears and talking about gender roles. What if your wife makes more money? How does that make the man feel? And Lisa added to that of who makes the decision to do what? Who makes the decision on who pays bills, who cooks, who does house chores? Like I said earlier, I am a very interesting mix of traditional gender roles and non-traditional gender roles. But I feel like at this point, just somebody do it. Do it matter who cook? You cook Wednesday, I'll cook Thursday. Like, if you have the ability, then yes, help me out. Don't have me doing everything. But for one, if my husband can't cook, I don't expect him to be getting in the kitchen. Now, I will teach you. We can get in this kitchen together. But don't get in my kitchen tearing up my good cast iron skillet because you want to be fancy. Because then we're going to have a problem. Oh, Brittany, I want that shirt. Google, find me a man. You have to send me the link. And tell him to bring his friends. That's what I'm talking about, Nella. But yeah, somebody do it. Like Lachey just said in the comments. It doesn't matter. Do it. Now, there are things that I would prefer that my husband do. I don't like taking out garbage or trash. You know, I was born and raised in Chicago, but now I live closer to St. Louis, and they say trash down here, and they be looking at me crazy when I say garbage. But I don't want to take it out. Garbage, trash, whatever. I don't want to take it outside. Let him do it. But also, I don't mind cooking. You know, there are certain things, or doing laundry. I don't mind doing the laundry. Now, it would be very helpful if I sort, wash, and dry it, and I'll even fold it. But can you put it up? Please. I think that's compromise. I think you just have to find your flow with your partner, especially when you live with somebody. You just have to find the flow that works for you. Most of you know that I was blessed to be raised in a 2-parent household. And so my dad or my brothers definitely always took the garbage out and did, there was a more traditional role. My mom doesn't even drive. Not that she doesn't have a license. She just don't want to drive. So my dad was kind of like the chauffeur of the house until my brothers were old enough to drive. So I'm okay with the more traditional roles. I don't mind cooking, but I've definitely seen both of my parents cook, and they both can cook. What else? What are some other things? Because at this point, I've never lived with a man, so I don't even know what other things you would like cleaning up. I definitely don't feel like that. Listen, you grown. You put them socks on the floor, you pick them up. Nella says, I'm pro gender roles to certain things. Like I want my man to take out the trash. Sherry says he does 98% of the cooking. And Sherry is a great cook, so it makes sense that he would do most of the cooking. But I know Jasmine cooks sometimes because I've seen her do it. Donisha doesn't drive either. That's what I'm saying. Like, those are things that I'm okay with. I don't mind driving because I like to be able to get up and go. But I would definitely not mind my husband driving sometimes. I've been driving myself for forever. Come on, somebody else do this. Drive Miss Daisy. Nella says both of us need to cook, clean, etc. I'm not tripping off of the cooking part if you're willing to wash the dishes. If you are willing to wash the dishes, I will cook for you every day. I don't mind. Now, it would be even better if I could cook most days, and there would be some days where you choose to cook so I don't have to. But I'm not even big on that. Because I know there's some men who can't cook. They talk about how these millennial women can't cook, and I don't know who came up with that lie. Because my mama forced me to be in the kitchen. I had to learn how to cook. So I don't know where they're making that stuff up at. But I can cook, and I don't mind cooking. Brittany said, I need to know what that not driving life is like. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Doug. That's my brother. Brittany said she wants gender equality in her house. And that's what I'm saying. I can agree with that to a certain extent. Like I said, I am an interesting mix. So there are some things that I would prefer to be traditional. But, you know how some women are like, oh, your daddy gonna be the one that discipline. Like, I think we should both be the disciplinarians. When I have children, I want to be able for either one of us to discipline our kids. But, you know, the old school mentality is to wait till your father gets home. And sometimes I don't want to wait. But also, sometimes my mama didn't wait. There were definitely some moments where my mama was finna knock my brother's heads off. And she did not wait till my daddy got home. Actually, she did it. And then when he got home, he did it again. So, there's that. Brittany says, I can't wait to send my husband outside to scrape the ice off. Listen, that's another thing. Hey, babe, you want to shovel my car out? Please and thank you. I definitely do not intend to do that. But by then, I plan to have a remote starter, so we won't have so many of those. And a garage. But still, shovel me out of here. I don't want to do that. Lachey says, if they ain't learn how to cook in the quarantine, they need a whooping. Very true. Nella says, I work 12-hour shifts, so I ain't cooking every day. We're going to have to eat out the days I don't cook if he can't cook. Jasmine will definitely be the disciplinarian. I'm a punk. Sherry's, I don't think it's that Sherry's a punk. Sherry's would just find it too funny to whoop the kids. Like he would find it funny. I was watching this episode of The Cosby Show yesterday where Vanessa got in a fight at school and Claire was like, you got in a fight, like she was going off, and Cliff was like, well, did you win? You took 2 of them all? Like, he was clowning. Hey, Tisha. Doug said everybody needs to cook. That's what I'm saying. Everybody needs to learn how to cook. Let's make it even. Brittany says, nah, you definitely about to catch these hands before your daddy get here. That's all I'm saying. Everybody can catch these hands. And then you're going to catch them again because now your daddy mad that I had to whip you. Donisha says, I'm not taking out any garbage and I'm not killing any spiders. I totally agree. I don't want to kill no bugs. Listen, I know I live alone right now. So my friends, especially Tisha, she know if I see a bug, that mug finna be drowned in bug spray. You not staying up in here. You gonna die even if I gotta drown you. Shares be weak when his sister be fussing at her kids. Listen, I'm definitely not killing no spiders. Lachey said she would probably be the disciplinarian. I think we should both be the disciplinarian. Let's all sit down and talk about how we gonna discipline these kids. Because everything don't require a whooping. But we do have to figure out some form of discipline. So, yeah. Dead on arrival. That's what I'm talking about, Tisha. Okay, so listen, lift your holy hands for the whooping. We be acting up. Y'all know when you and your friends got all these inside jokes. We be clowning. Pray for us. So, the last topic, and y'all are welcome to continue to comment if you want. But the last topic, which is actually the first topic listed, is entanglements. I'm only going to give y'all 6 minutes about this Jada and Will situation. Because I think it's messy. I feel like it was a bit much. The way that the entanglement thing played out, I refused to watch the Red Table Talk because I saw enough of the snippets. I saw enough about it to know what was happening. But I definitely feel like August put them on blast for the sake of his song or his album that came out the week after. Like, it was a publicity stunt. I won't say that they didn't take a little bit of an advantage of him, but also he was 21 years old. He wasn't illegal. She was just a little, like I said, how far young you trying to go? Because I can't do it. Sherry says she's a predator. No one wants to talk about that part. She was a bit of a predator. She was definitely a cougar out here trying to get her a little cub. That family is a mess. They are the example of what a godless marriage looks like. I totally agree, Brittany. Allowing third parties into their marriage, allowing entanglements and other people to to destroy the sanctity of your union. God created y'all to just be one with each other, not to be one with you and you and you and him and her. And, I think it was too much. That whole situation was very messy. I definitely feel bad for their kids, not only because it's embarrassing as a family, but also because this is the toxicity that you are used to. You think this is normal relationships. Y'all know I work with children a lot. So when I look at home life situations, it makes a ton of sense. Like, I see why y'all kids act like this, because y'all home life is like that, So I can only imagine the types of relationships that their children will allow in their adulthood because of what their parents allowed and what they have been privy to. Even if, they quote unquote didn't let their kids see what was happening. As kids grow up, they kind of put 2 and 2 together on their own. They figure things out. And then by them being public figures, it's all over the internet. Everybody got access to a cell phone or a laptop. So, I just think it's really sad. Brittany says, Jada definitely took advantage of him. That boy came there to get healed and she drug him in their mess. Lachey says, I'm sorry, but the way she explained how she got in the entanglement pissed me off because I felt like she took advantage of him when he came to her for help. Was he grown? Yes, but it wasn't right. And that's what I'm saying. In any situation, regardless of age, if somebody comes to you for help, you should not turn that into a sexual relationship. Like, he didn't come here to get sex. He came here to get help. And that is how pedophiles are born. I'm going to get off that topic because y'all know I get real mad real quick. But yes, I agree. Lachey, she definitely took advantage in the sense of he came for help and you tried to do something else. Sherry says she preyed on him. It's like a therapist sleeping with their client. Exactly. Brittany says, how dare you sex your son's friends? That's so wrong and traumatic. Tisha says, I'm cool with the publicity stunt. I feel like they were both legal. I oppose the immorality. I think they got what they wanted as far as media recognition. I definitely think that they got the attention that they sought. They wanted attention and they got all the attention. So yeah, I definitely don't disagree with that. Doug said they waited 3 years later to speak on the subject. This is to get paid. Like, why announce this on the red table? I totally agree. It was all the publicity stunt, but I think that at the core of the situation, it was a mess. It's a mess, okay? Tisha says at the end of the day, we're all human. She has/had issues. And that's what I'm saying. They all have issues. We all have issues, things that we struggle with. I just don't know if I will make my issues so public. Call me crazy, but I'm a little private. I don't really think that I think there are some things that the world should not know about. In one of my group texts with one of my sets of friends, we were talking about another situation, and I was telling them, like, I don't think that should have been public knowledge. Like, everything is not for the world to know, you know? Nella says, so I feel like as far as Jada and August went, yes, she definitely took advantage of him while he was in a fragile state. As far as Jada and Will's marriage, a lot of people ganged up on her and called her a cheater and all that, but they both clearly stated they were separated and want nothing to do with each other, so it shouldn't be just on her. The only difference was August spoke out about them. Whoever Will was messing with at that time didn't. Now, that's true, too. And, you know, the rumor is that they've been swingers for years. So, I definitely think that Will was messing around with somebody, too. This person just so happened to also be a public figure, and they wanted to use it as a marketing tool. So somebody said no publicity is bad publicity. So let y'all do with that as you will. Lachey says, and as much as kids pay attention, you can't say that you shield your kids if they are there 100% of the time. They see it, they hear it, and they know what's up. And by that being Jaden's friends, I know he knew some stuff. And that's another thing. He friends with your son and you having sex with him? Come on now. You're doing a lot. Brittany says, I don't think they wanted the attention. I think it was a situation where we go back to God's perfect vision. And this situation with scripture was done in the dark comes to the light. That's very true. Tisha says, my aunt's hubby is way older, but their marriage is great. Who am I to judge? Is he a predator? I don't think that he's a predator. I think that there are other underlying issues in this particular situation. Like I said, with her son being friends with August, that kind of makes it weird for me. And also because he did not come to her with the intent to sleep with her. He went with the intent to get some help. So I think that's where not the gray area is, but where the pushback is. Doug say, when you don't wash your hands of your past, you stay dirty, like a child who keeps putting on clean clothes on a dirty body. That's a good analogy. Brittany says, I definitely think that Will was wrong for letting her fall on a sword like that. Yeah, I would have found a different way. As her husband, I think there's a different way that could have been brought to light or handled. But I guess, at the end, I will say they came back together on the Red Table Talk, and they made that little weird statement about bad marriage for life. And it was weird to me, but maybe that was his way of being a good husband and protecting her. I don't know. It sounds a little crazy to me, but not my thing. Cher says, when I say predator, I don't mean people in the pedophile sense. She preyed emotionally. She is his daughter's age, and she was around 20. Yeah, I don't know. I think that being their age and being their friend are not the same. For me, the issue is not the age so much as the fact that this is actually your child's friend. But like I said, it works for some people. It's a no for me. It's a big fat H no for me. And what I mean is a no is the whole Jada and Will situation. I think it was very messy. I think it was very poorly handled. And it sucks. Like I said, that their kids have to be exposed to that. As for me, I'm gonna need y'all to stay out of these entanglements. If y'all know it's a love triangle, just don't get involved. Y'all know they got somebody else. Stay out of it. Stay out of it. Brittany says we also have to remember that at one point, being an older man or woman dating/marrying a younger man or woman was socially acceptable. Now we're not so forgiving. I do agree with that. You can take that back to the biblical days. Mary was 14 when she got married. Okay. Sorry, it said I had a poor connection. I'm gonna hop off of here because it's been an hour anyway. Doug said Stella got her groove back. Nah. Nella said they should have got an NDA. I totally agree. They definitely should have got a non-disclosure agreement. Sherris, it's not okay to me, but I know a variety of couples with crazy dynamics. I'm with Joyous H now. All right, we're gonna hop off of here. Because y'all know we will never stop talking. But I so enjoyed you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for connecting and conversing with me. We are in the process of beginning to record our first series within the podcast, and I'm very excited about that. I don't want to give you any details. There are a couple people that are in the chat right now that will be featured. Brittany was one of them. I definitely said Brittany earlier. She is one of them, but there are a couple other people that will also be featured in this series, and I'm really excited about it. I've been working on it for over a month now, so I'm hoping to have that debuted by September at the latest. So, of course, continue to look out for the podcast episodes. Tisha, Singles Exchange loves you back. Continue to look out for the podcast episodes. There will be a new episode this coming Tuesday, August the 4th. And pretty much every other week, every other Tuesday after that, you can expect a podcast episode. Now, here's a treat. When the series loads, you will get a new episode every week. So when we begin our series, you'll get a new episode every week until the series is over. So I'm very excited about that. Like I said, follow Singles Exchange on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on all of your podcast streaming platforms. Y'all clowning in these comments today. And that's it. I love y'all. Happy Friday. Happy almost August. Hashtag no entanglements 2020. And I will talk to y'all soon. Let's exchange.